The media, thank you for taking the time to join us today. At this time, we are going to introduce the incoming Commissioner of Police for the Bermuda Police Service, Mr. Stephen Mark Corbishley. Good morning, sir, and welcome to Bermuda, and welcome to the Bermuda Police Service and our community. Sir?
Good morning to you all. My name is Steve Corbishley, and as said, I'm the incoming Commissioner of the Bermuda Police Service. I'm delighted to be in Bermuda, and I've spent the past week engaging with staff, speaking to frontline officers and supervisors, understanding their views and their needs in regards to the Bermuda Police Service and making it the best it can be. I've also had opportunity to speak with government and Governor's House about some of their expectations and some of the challenges that we face in going forward. I have extensive experience in policing in the UK with the National Crime Agency and indeed overseas, and I come to Bermuda excited to take on the role and to be able to offer my experience in leading this exceptional service in going forward. I want to work with local people, but particularly I want to work with local communities. I want to listen to their concerns, listen to what they need from the service to ensure that they're safe and that they feel safe, and to deal with some of the challenges that they face, whether they be antisocial behaviour, drug use, organised crime, or indeed anything that requires the service of the police officers and staff under my command. I look forward, when I start office at the end of this month, to speaking with staff and also other colleagues about the plans we need to put in place in going forward. The Bermuda Police Service is not unique to other police services around the world. The challenges we face in regards to cyber criminality, serious and organised crime and child protection are issues that we need to recognise and issues that we need to address. We already have significant expertise within the service to deal with these issues, and I will support and enable them to become even better in tackling some of those issues. And importantly is to work with partners who can greatly assist in addressing some of these problems. I'd like to take some questions from you in regards to my role and how I plan to go forward, but I'd like to end in regards to saying that my welcome to Bermuda has been absolutely amazing. My family will be joining me for my time here, and they too are looking forward to being part of the local community. Thank you very much.
Could you actually say your name and what agency you're representing, please?
Gary Moreno, Bermuda Broadcasting Company. Mr. Corbishley, first of all, welcome to Bermuda, and I extend my condolences and the support of Manchester City. Be that as it may, you said that you had discussions with the governor as to what they're expecting or what they would like to see happen during your tenure as commissioner. Are you able to share any of what that might have been with us?
I'm quite happy. Certainly the governor's need is to build on the excellent legacy left behind by the outgoing commissioner, Michael De Silva, and I wish him well in his retirement. And some of the challenges I've already touched upon, enabling the BPS to be able to deal with issues around serious and organised crime. And to that extent, you'll be aware that our track record around this area is exceptional, particularly in dealing with gang-related issues and for us to continue to enable people to be safe. There are other challenges around child protection. And already we're making great progress in that area, but we need to recognise some of the issues that perhaps relate to internet use and how offenders behave. And the other thing, and it's a discussion I had with the Minister for National Security the other day, is the aspects of ensuring that Bermuda's safe, particularly in regards to counter-terrorism and the things that we put in place to ensure that Bermuda remains the safest it can possibly be. And that will involve us working with other partners internationally in regards to coordinating our effort.
On that score, 2 Bermudians were arrested recently in England on allegations of terrorist activity. Have you been party to any discussions with that regard?
I'm not aware of the detail in that regard, but of course issues like that, when I start as Commissioner, are other issues that I need to be fully briefed on to understand perhaps some of the consequences of Bermuda, how we respond to them, and how we ensure in going forward that we share information and also look at any lessons learned that we may need to take on board.
Owen Johnson Barnes with the Royal Gazette. Do you think that the effects of December 2nd protests have affected Bermuda's perspective on the police service, and is there going to be rebuilding in the community that needs to be done?
Owen, I only have very limited knowledge of those protests, so you'll have to forgive me being able to respond in detail. But of course, any unrest or any sort of social concern will result in issues around confidence. And one of the things I'm keen on, I've already mentioned it, is being a listening organisation, but particularly engaging locally with communities, leaders, to understand their concerns, and in some cases communicating a little bit more effectively to address their issues and perhaps responding in ways that they need support. And of course, issues like has happened in December, I'm not saying will happen again, but we will get those moments where we need to be quite forward and proactive, engaging with people and understanding some of the risks, as opposed to perhaps sitting back and waiting for those concerns to arise. A lot of my track record with policing is to build very proactive relationships with communities. Quite often communities are led not necessarily by people in government and politics. They're led by local people who know what's going on, and it's important that we engage with those individuals as well to listen, understand and respond to their concerns.
Another big issue that we have faced on the island recently is that of road safety.
Yes.
Is that a high priority for you?
Indeed. I'm aware of obviously some of the road traffic injuries and indeed some of the fatalities that Bermuda has suffered. Not least as driving around the island, some of the challenges. And we have an exceptional roads policing unit that we need to support, whether it be around officers and the vehicles they use. But the most important issue is that we communicate effectively as well. We communicate in regards to people being able to take responsibility for their own safety, that we enforce where appropriate, particularly issues that may contribute to injury, so speed, and maybe issues around intoxication and people driving whilst drunk. But importantly is also to look at some of the lessons learned. So if we do have a particular incident, what are actually the consequences that cause that problem? Is it a given location? We work with partnership in other agencies to make the roads safer.
Trevor. Sir, welcome to Bermuda. Trevor.
Thank you.
CNN Bermuda. The drug interdiction team, narcotics, it seems that in that department is kicking a backseat. Drugs are coming in through Bermuda, left, right, and center. Any focus on tackling these issues?
Okay. Again, it's early days for me to know the details, so perhaps it's difficult for me to respond with the knowledge that's needed. But as an observation, the importation of drugs by serious and organised crime is a focus that we take very seriously, and particularly with engagement with other international partners. And I'll be looking at working with my deputy to refresh and review how we approach that. Importantly, though, that those that perhaps have addictions to drugs, firstly and foremostly, I will look at that as a health issue, because criminalising perhaps people that because of their drug use, whilst it's important to deal with them in an enforcement way, they need to be given the support to perhaps get out of that process. So working again in partnership, giving them opportunity to change their behaviour by removing their addiction and supporting them in being able to rehabilitate into the local community. So there is no one size fits all, and it's important that we don't simply look at arresting ourselves out of the problem. I need to work very much in partnership with other agencies and how we deal with these issues to make sure that Bermuda's safe. But I give total reassurance that drugs are a high priority because their link to serious and organised crime, social disorder, antisocial behaviour is very, very clear. So we do need to have very clear focus in how we tackle it.
You're coming into the Bermuda service at a time when, based on information coming from among the ranks, morale is at a low. How do you plan to address that?
Well, I may challenge you back and question whether or not morale is at a low, because certainly my engagement over the past few days, and of course I am the commissioner and perhaps people are going to tell me things that they want me to hear, but I work in a way that is not about perhaps corporate meetings. I've spoken to staff individually and at length and understood some of their views. There are challenges. There are challenges around making sure that they've got the best and right equipment to do their job. There are challenges in regards to making sure that we recruit against vacancies we hold. That's in my area of responsibility, and those are the things I'm going to do. But the feedback I've had is very, very positive and very committed. But I can't be complacent, and one of the things that I'll be doing in working with the deputy on my arrival is a very clear engagement with staff, understand what their needs are, get to the heart of what they need to perform their role and respond. Because at the end of the day, the BPS needs officers that are happy, positive, confident and able to do their job, and I will achieve that, and that will make a significant difference to the way in which we're able to deal and respond with the public.
There had been a lot of concern. There had been a lot of concern about your being appointed the commissioner, foreign national being appointed commissioner. It was thought, there had been a lot of talk as well both in the public as well as in the House of Assembly. How do you see that impacting your time here as Commissioner?
Well, I am different. You did describe me as a Manchester City fan before, and I used to be ginger in an earlier life. So I do have some diverse issues myself. But let's not miss the point, okay? One of the comments said is the concern around a non-Bermudian being appointed as the Commissioner. It misses perhaps some of the tremendous work that's done inside the service to talent manage and progress people to achieve their highest potential and the highest ranks. And there was great effort in identifying not just Bermudians, but the best people to perform the role. I went through a process where I was selected, and I feel very proud and delighted. The issue for me is as much around the value I offer as opposed to the challenge I need to understand the issues of Bermuda. And I'll give you reassurance, I will listen. My family are moving to Bermuda. We want to be part of the community. I'm not coming over here on a contract just to perform a role and clear off. I want to be part of Bermuda life. But on top of that, I bring perhaps a different viewpoint, some objectivity, some experience around international policing, some of the challenges in the UK, some of the partnership relationships. So I add value to the BPS. Whilst it's not about me, I think the role that I will perform with the deputy in going forward gives not just the right direction, but an exciting journey ahead for the BPS in being able to serve Bermuda.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just came from another press conference. The government was announcing a road safety plan for 2018, which was very encouraging. One of the things that was mentioned in there was an increased police presence on our roads. And I was just wondering if there's any other detail that you could give or the extent of that increase in presence.
No, I can't give you the detail. That's always sort of interesting when you hear about other things where police is being increased, but I'm sure that that's been discussed and agreed. And I think it's about, when we talk about increased presence, it's about the intelligence use of that presence. It's about where we put officers at key locations that make most difference. And presence is not just simply around the physical aspect of an officer. It's about the communication, the signage, the way in which we get things across. And we had a big discussion around social media this morning about how we not just communicate, but how we listen to the feelings of Bermudians and respond. And road safety does come into that regard. It's a busy island, I recognise that. And safety for people on the roads is absolutely paramount, alongside keeping Bermuda moving, enable people to work, visit and enjoy their life here.
Yeah, one more question.
Go on.
During that press conference, the government announced that they are about to table a bill for roadside sobriety, which is a massive step forward for the island.
Yes.
One thing that isn't being fully addressed yet is the issue of speed cameras. I think the Minister of National Security mentioned that that's going to be a systematic approach to speed cameras. But are there any initial thoughts you could give to us? Speed is an important factor in some of the crashes that we're having, fatalities here.
Well, having driven around Bermuda a few times this week, I'm surprised that you can get to any speed with some of the perhaps traffic congestion. But not being flippant, speed alongside sobriety, whether it be alcohol or drug use, are significant contributors to crashes and serious and fatal injuries. So from my position, I fully support the government in that regard, and we will work closely with them to make sure that we're able to deliver their strategic intentions around that.
Certainly members of the media, we have time for 2 questions. I notice the hands will be Trevor and Gary, and then we're going to have to bring it to a close.
Sir, CCTV is a vital tool in
Yep.
England. Any thoughts of don't know if you really monitor the selection of cameras we have in here. What's your thought on?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to view the CCTV suites at the control centre. I have to say I was taken aback. The quality and provision given to Bermuda is second to none, better than most, if not all, environments that I've worked in. I recognise sometimes the concern around intrusion and surveillance, but CCTV is there to protect people. CCTV there is there to monitor what takes place, and I think it's a vital part of community safety.
Okay, Ms. Moreno. I just have 3 quick questions. Just 3 quick questions. Bear with me, please. Bermuda remains a colony, an overseas territory, where the governor is in charge of the operational policing, but the government pays budgets, the finances the police service. How do you plan on dealing with that, bearing in mind that the commissioner is in charge, but the government is actually who foots the bill for the running of the service, paying your salary and stuff? Okay. Because I'm sure there are going to be demands from both sides.
And again, it benefits my experience. The arrangement in Bermuda is not too distant some of the UK arrangements around police and crime commissioners, where the accountability in regards to policy and direction very much sits from me to the police and crime commissioner, not too dissimilar to Governor's House, but I have operational independency in regards to how policing is delivered. And whilst clearly strategy and direction will be set, the way in which the service will be led alongside myself and the deputy will be quite clear in regards to our independence.
There is an ongoing, though muted, issue of divisions between black West Indian officers, British officers, and white Bermudian officers. It's not talked about very much, but there are always the underlying tones. You hear about it when you visit the police club, for instance, for a sip or two. How do you intend to deal with that? Because I'm sure you would have been advised, perhaps, that there are rumblings.
I think as much as I've described what we will do externally in regards to being a listening service, I'm a listening commissioner, and I will deal with those issues. Above all, officers need to be professional, and diversity works 2 ways. Diversity works in regards to services we provide, and it's a professional expectation in regards to how officers work together. But let me throw something back at you. Actually, there's a lot of value in that. There's a lot of value in different opinion. There's a lot of value in different cultural outlooks. Bermuda has different types of communities. It has a resident community, it has a visiting community, it has a working community. And I think that actually equips us really well to be responsive and understand those needs and be able to deliver our services better. So I recognise your point, and it's an area I'll look at. I'll have clear expectations around it, but actually it's an opportunity for us to be better.
2 last questions. 2 last questions. What are we, please? One, the Bermuda Police Service has instituted, once again, stop and search exercises. It's something that's been widely debated in the UK. Is it something that you would agree with?
Yeah, I think stop and search is a fundamental part of policing. It's a fundamental part of crime prevention. The issue is about its proportionality, that it's evidence and intelligence based, and it's used in a way that is professional and quite clear to the person subject of it, because it is intrusive. It stops people going around their business. But if we're going to tackle crime and disorder, if we're going to deal with some of those issues, stop and search is an important asset. But we need to be transparent. We need to monitor the people that we actually check, so we're accountable to local communities. And wherever possible, we need to look at improving the way in which we deliver that important tactic.
Given all your wealth of experience and so on, why Bermuda?
I spoke about this last night, and I've had extensive experience in UK policing, and the role came up, and I thought a long time about it. I spoke with colleagues that have worked in international areas, but there are a lot of international roles. I looked at Bermuda, I looked at what it offered, not just for me professionally, but what it offers for me as my family, and that's an important issue for me. And I also looked at the way in which the police work with government, spoke with Mike De Silva, the outgoing commissioner, spoke with Paul Wright, the deputy. And to say it was persuasive in regards to taking the role is an understatement. I'm delighted to be here. I'm committed to Bermuda. I'm going to be living here. I'm part of the local community. but above all, I'm the Commissioner of Police, and the BPS is going to build on its current success, and I will ensure that it improves in going forward to the future.
A lot of focus on community policing based on what you're saying?
Yeah, community policing is a fundamental bedrock, working locally with neighbourhoods, officers being visible. It's about relationships. It's about people understanding local problems. I think a police service that's based up on officers who just fly in and then fly out doesn't necessarily work, because it deals with the issue, it perhaps doesn't tackle the problem, and some of the problems we face are not around enforcement, they're around confidence, they're about engagement, about getting other people involved. And part of the solution in many cases is actually supporting the community to sort out their own problems.
I'm going to send you the membership forms for the Bermuda Spurs Supporters Club. I sign up here to you, or?
This is where the press conference will go downhill. But ladies and gents, just a quick final one. I want to work positively with you, and I will be accessible to you in regards to discussing issues. I will deal with the challenging issues alongside dealing with the positive issues. So I'm delighted to be here, but I look forward to a long, sometimes challenging, but good relationship. Okay.
The last statement to the media.
Say again?
The last statement to the media. You're open to the media.
No, I refer that to the media.
Thank you very much.
Okay, but I refer that to lots of people as well. Okay. We're done.
Thank you so much for the members of the media in joining us today. There you have it. We have Mr. Stephen Corbishley. He is now the Commissioner of the Bermuda Police Service. Open, transparent. He's going to ensure that we are the cadre of the capable, the competent, and the prepared. Thank you very much, and enjoy your afternoon.